Hi, this is Jamey with Stonemeyer Games, and since today is August 17th, 2018, the release day for the Rise of Fenris, I'm going to be talking about my favorite mechanism in this new final Scythe expansion. But first, I also wanted to give a quick shout out to My Little Scythe, which I've already done a video on. You can look for it on my channel, my favorite mechanism in My Little Scythe. This game also comes out on August 17th today. These are simultaneous releases. Since they both have Scythe in the name, we figured we'd release them to stores on the same day. So before I start my favorite mechanism in the Rise of Fenris, which will be spoiler-free, I wanted to mention a quick public service announcement for anyone who gets the Rise of Fenris and opens the box. You're going to see some things that are okay to look at, and some things that are not okay to look at. There are a bunch of punch boards, and there's a big thing at the top of the punch board that says, "Hey, don't look at these yet. These are something that you can look at later in the campaign." Also, don't worry, I won't be showing you any spoilers here. This is what you'll see inside the box. You'll see these big tuck boxes inside the box. Don't look through them. This is a big spoiler. So if you are going to play the campaign, this is a modular expansion, so you can just take all this stuff out of the box and play with it right away. But if you are going to play the campaign and you're used to doing a component check in games, don't do it here, because we've designed this expansion to be full of discovery. Don't look through these tuck boxes. However, I know some of you are thinking, I'm going to look through them anyway. I want to know what's in there right away. I want to do a component check. If you do that, look through all of them. Don't just look through some of them. We've gotten a number of replacement parts requests as related to one of these tuck boxes because people are opening one of them and not the rest of them, and they think something is missing. It is not missing, I promise you. So, again, don't look through the tuck boxes, but if you do, look through all of them, all right? That'll be a big help to us because we keep getting the same replacement part request for something that is definitely in this box. Anyway, I'll get to my favorite mechanism right now, which is, again, not spoiler. It's not a spoiler at all. And it's related to the campaign. The co-designer and I, Ryan, we thought about how we should determine the winner of the campaign. We talked about this a lot. And this is mentioned right away at the beginning of the rulebook, that the winner of the campaign in the Rise of Fenris isn't an accumulation of money or points or anything like that throughout the entire campaign. Rather, it is the winner of the final game. An 8-game campaign. So once we decided upon that, we were like, okay, how are we going to do this? How are we going to make sure that the things you do throughout the campaign matter in determining the winner? We thought that this would lead to a more climactic end to the campaign, rather than if you have just points that you're adding up, and maybe you get to game 7 and you're like, oh, we already know who's going to win. No one can beat this person. They have more points than anybody else. And that's why we went with the idea that the winner of the final game is the winner of the campaign. But we still needed choices to matter throughout the campaign. And so there are things that, like as you end each game, you'll acquire wealth. So if my final score in the game is 50, I'll have $50, and I can use that money to buy certain things during the campaign. That'll help me from game to game, and it'll also help me at the end of the campaign, because the things that you gain, most are permanent. Although I mentioned permanence, it's not a legacy campaign, it's just persistent is a better word than permanent. But there is one other thing related to the campaign log, and I'll try to cover up part of it here. You can look at this right away. There will be some stuff that's a little bit mysterious on here, but you see this triumph log. This is explained before you even start the campaign. See how it looks like the triumph track inside, all the different categories that you can place stars on, and see how $25 is written at the bottom of each column and each row. What this does is it says, at the beginning of the campaign, it says, hey, that $25 that you see on the Triumph log, that's going to matter at the end of the campaign to determine the winner. It doesn't really say how, it's not too specific, but it says it's going to matter. And so it's important to do one of two things. It's important either to diversify, because you're trying to fill in either a full row or a full column. So you're trying to diversify, and over the course of the campaign, get stars in lots of different categories, or stars in the same category. This is something that I really, really like in games. When a game encourages you to kind of take two different paths, but sometimes both of them, in either diversifying or specializing. And I think Ryan thought of this mechanism of having players diversify the number of stars they get each game and throughout the campaign, as well as specializing and getting really good at getting certain types of stars. In this way, we keep each game a little bit fresh, Each scenario does this, each episode in the campaign, but also just in terms of the goal of being the overall winner. That every game you can't just do the same thing over and over again and hope to win the campaign, because if you do that, you might specialize in a few categories, get a few of these $25 bonuses, but you won't have diversified and tried a lot of different things, and you've left out a bunch of potential stars by doing that. So anyway, I really like that element. Ryan was really creative to work with on stuff like this, and I like that. I think it was his idea to end the campaign, make the winner the winner of the final game, and I think that was a really neat choice to make. And all the design decisions that stemmed from that choice were a lot of fun for us to figure out, and I think fun for people to play as well. So yeah, that is the Rise of Fenris. That's my favorite mechanism in the Rise of Fenris. If you have a favorite mechanism in this game, which you may have played if you pre-ordered it early from us and already have your copy, most likely you won't get it until today because today is the release date. But if you do have a favorite mechanism that's not a spoiler, or a spoiler that you can tag with spoilers in the comments, feel free to mention it. Or if you have a favorite way that a campaign game determines who wins the campaign, I'd love to hear about that in the comments as well. Thanks, and happy release day for the Rise of Fenris and My Little Scythe.